Here in Sedona, Arizona, I'm sitting down with Kody, Meri, Robyn, Christine and David, and Janelle to talk about their future.
Impressed with her ability to manifest. Like in a plural marriage, she could have never done that. Like, I'm excited.
TLC's long-running reality television series Sister Wives has been one of the most talked-about programs in modern reality TV. Since its debut in 2010, the series has invited viewers into the lives of Kody Brown and his Plural family, consisting of multiple wives and many children. Unlike scripted dramas, this show has presented a real-life glimpse into the challenges and triumphs of a polygamous lifestyle in contemporary America. Over the years, millions of viewers have tuned in to watch the ups and downs of the Brown family, creating ongoing discussions about marriage, faith, gender roles, and family loyalty. At the center of the story is Kody Brown, the patriarch of the family. When the show first began, Kody was legally married to Meri Brown and spiritually married to Janelle and Christine. The three women, along with Kody, lived as one plural household, raising their children under the same roof. Their lifestyle was rooted in a faith tradition that supported plural marriage, and their decision to share their story on national television was, at the time, groundbreaking. The show quickly gained attention not only for the unique dynamics of the household but also for the challenges they faced from society. Polygamy has long been a controversial topic in the United States, often associated with secrecy, legal consequences, and public criticism. By going on camera, the Browns risked judgment but also opened a door for conversations about plural marriage, personal freedom, and the meaning of family. As the seasons progressed, the family expanded further. In 2010, viewers were introduced to a fourth wife, Robyn Brown. Robyn's arrival immediately changed the course of the family. She was younger than the other wives, brought 3 children from a previous marriage, and eventually had more children with Kody. Her presence introduced new dynamics into the family unit, both positive and negative. From the beginning, Robyn's role was complicated. Some fans viewed her as a breath of fresh air, someone who brought new energy and romantic attention into Kody's life. Others believed that her arrival disrupted the balance that had existed between the first 3 wives. Allegations of favoritism quickly surfaced, and audiences debated whether Robyn's position as the newest wife would create divisions that might not heal. Over time, those divisions did indeed grow. What began as small disagreements eventually turned into separations. Christine Brown, once one of Kody's most loyal and devoted wives, made headlines when she decided to leave the marriage. Later, Janelle also chose independence, and finally, Meri stepped away from the spiritual union as well. By the early 2020s, the plural marriage that had been the foundation of the show was, for the most part, dissolved. Today, Robyn remains Kody's only wife. While many of the children are grown and building their own lives, the family continues to draw attention, particularly because of the changing relationships among the ex-wives and the one remaining wife. The question of how Robyn fits into the broader family dynamic has become one of the most discussed topics among fans. Recently, Robyn has had messages directed at Kody's former wives, Meri, Janelle, and Christine. Rather than being hostile, her statements have often centered around the hope for peace, unity, and ongoing family connection. Given the complicated history between them, these words carry weight. To fully understand the importance of her message, it is essential to look back at the journey of the family, the roles of each wife, and the changes that have brought them to this moment. In this extended news feature, we will explore the history of sister wives, the individual experiences of each member, and the significance of Robyn Brown's message to the women who once shared a marriage with Kody. This analysis will not attempt to take sides but will instead present the story in a balanced way, examining the facts as they are known, the reactions from the public, and the broader implications of their journey. The goal is not only to recount what happened but also to place these events in a larger cultural and social context. The story of the Brown family is not just about reality television drama, it is about how families adapt to change, how individuals navigate love and loss, and how public exposure influences private relationships. The message that Robyn now extends to Kody's ex-wives is a culmination of years of growth, conflict, and shifting dynamics. It offers a glimpse into her mindset as she continues life in a family that looks very different from the one audiences first met more than a decade ago. Robyn Sullivan, later known as Robyn Brown, came into the family with a story of her own. Born in 1978, Robyn grew up in a family familiar with plural marriage practices. Before meeting Kody, she had already experienced married life. She had 3 children from her first marriage, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna. By the time she met Kody, she was divorced and navigating the difficulties of single parenthood. Her background resonated with some viewers who appreciated that she wasn't entering the Brown family as an outsider to plural marriage but as someone who understood aspects of it. Still, her previous marriage and children added a layer of complexity, because she wasn't only becoming a wife but also bringing in a set of children who would need to be integrated into a large family already in motion. Meeting Kody. The story of how Robyn and Kody met has been told on the show and in interviews. They were introduced through family connections, and Kody felt an instant attraction to her. This attraction was something the cameras did not hide. When audiences saw Kody interact with Robyn for the first time, there was a visible spark, one that some viewers felt was missing in his interactions with his other wives by that stage of the series. Kody pursued Robyn with determination, and she reciprocated his interest. What followed was a courtship that played out on television, marking one of the rare instances where fans could witness the beginnings of a plural marriage relationship. The courtship itself generated both excitement and skepticism among fans. The courtship period. Unlike Kody's earlier marriages, which had long histories by the time the cameras were rolling, Robyn's entrance was unfolding in real time. Viewers watched as Kody took road trips to visit Robyn, spent time with her children, and openly expressed his affection. These moments created television that felt fresh but also controversial. For Meri, Janelle, and Christine, the courtship period was not easy. Each of them had spent years adjusting to the demands of sharing a husband. The introduction of a new wife reignited insecurities and questions about Kody's commitment to them. On screen, Christine in particular struggled with feelings of jealousy and doubt. Janelle maintained her calm and practical approach but admitted to difficulties. Meri, as the first wife, experienced a mix of emotions. On the one hand, she had supported the idea of bringing Robyn into the family, yet on the other, she struggled with what that meant for her own bond with Kody. Robyn's personality and early impressions. Robyn was quickly characterized as gentle, soft-spoken, and emotionally open. She often expressed gratitude for being welcomed into the family and made efforts to bond with the other wives. At the same time, her emotional vulnerability sometimes highlighted differences between her and the more seasoned wives, who had built up resilience over years of plural marriage challenges. Fans had mixed reactions. Some felt Robyn was sincere and simply wanted to be part of the family. Others perceived her as overly emotional, manipulative, or too dependent on Kody. Because the show was designed to highlight personal struggles, these conflicting impressions became a major talking point online and in media coverage. The spiritual marriage ceremony. Kody and Robyn's relationship culminated in a spiritual marriage ceremony in 2010. For the Browns, spiritual marriages carry the same weight as legal ones, signifying a lifelong commitment rooted in their faith. Cameras captured the celebration, which featured not only the joining of Kody and Robyn but also the blending of their children and lives. The other wives attended, though emotions were mixed. Christine later admitted that this was one of the hardest experiences for her to witness. She felt sidelined and struggled with the joy she was expected to show. Meri, who had initially encouraged the idea, also wrestled with complicated feelings. Janelle, true to form, handled the moment with composure but acknowledged her discomfort. For Robyn, however, it was a moment of triumph and relief. She had longed for stability after her divorce and wanted her children to grow up in a supportive environment. Joining the Brown family provided her with that opportunity, even though it also meant entering a household where emotions were already stretched thin. The honeymoon phase. After the spiritual marriage, viewers saw Kody and Robyn enjoy what many fans described as a honeymoon phase. Kody's affection for Robyn was clear. He appeared more physically demonstrative with her, and he often spoke about her in glowing terms. This was particularly noticeable because such displays were less frequent with his other wives by that point in the series. This visible favoritism quickly became a flashpoint. Christine famously expressed frustration about feeling abandoned or overlooked. Janelle worried about maintaining fairness in time allocation. Meri faced her own insecurities about her place in the marriage. For Robyn, this attention from Kody was affirming, but it also placed her in a delicate position. While she wanted to enjoy her relationship, she was also aware of the resentment brewing among the others. Public reaction. The audience's response mirrored the tensions inside the family. Online forums, social media, and fan discussions frequently centered on whether Robyn was responsible for creating division or whether Kody's behavior was the true issue. Some fans argued that Kody's favoritism toward Robyn destabilized the balance of the family. Others defended Robyn, pointing out that she could not control Kody's actions and was simply navigating her role as best she could. In many ways, Robyn became a lightning rod for debates about plural marriage itself. To those skeptical of polygamy, her presence reinforced the belief that equality among multiple spouses is nearly impossible. To those more sympathetic, she represented the natural evolution of a plural family, where new relationships inevitably shift the balance but do not necessarily destroy it. Legal marriage to Kody. In 2014, another major development occurred. Kody legally divorced Meri, his first wife, in order to legally marry Robyn. This move was made primarily for practical reasons. By marrying Robyn legally, Kody could adopt her 3 children from her previous marriage. The adoption was a meaningful step, securing the children's place in the Brown family under the law. Still, the choice to divorce Meri and marry Robyn legally was a watershed moment. It created lasting tension between Meri and Kody, fueling speculation about the strength of their marriage. For Robyn, the adoption of her children was a blessing, but the broader impact on family harmony was undeniable. Integration challenges. Becoming part of the Brown family was not simply about being Kody's wife. Robyn had to find her place among the other wives, navigate relationships with many children, and adapt to the unique lifestyle the Browns were living. Early seasons of the show captured her efforts to be a supportive sister wife, including her participation in family businesses and group decisions. However, integration was far from seamless. Her parenting style differed from others, her children had their own adjustments to make, and her relationship with Kody was often scrutinized as the strongest among the wives. These factors contributed to ongoing friction. The long-term impact of her arrival. Looking back, it is clear that Robyn's entrance into the family marked a turning point. While the Browns had managed for years with 3 wives, the addition of a 4th shifted the balance in ways that would have lasting consequences. Whether one views Robyn as the cause or merely a symbol of deeper issues, her arrival coincided with the unraveling of relationships that had previously endured. In order to understand why Robyn's eventual message to the other wives carries such significance, it is necessary to look closely at how Kody related to each of his wives, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn herself. Meri Brown, the first wife. Early foundation. Meri Brown was Kody's first wife, legally marrying him in 1990. Their union laid the foundation for what would become the Brown family. At the time, both were young and enthusiastic about building a plural household rooted in their faith. Meri believed strongly in the principle of plural marriage, even encouraging Kody to eventually take additional wives. Their early years were filled with optimism and shared vision. Meri was deeply invested in her role, not only as Kody's wife but as the anchor of what she believed would become a strong, united family. Struggles with infertility. One of the most defining aspects of Meri's journey was her struggle with infertility. She and Kody were only able to have 1 child together, Leon, who later came out as transgender and non-binary. While Meri loved Leon deeply, she often expressed sadness about not being able to give Kody more children. In a family culture where children were central, this reality weighed heavily on her. The other wives had multiple children, which highlighted Meri's sense of difference. She tried to contribute in other ways, focusing on being supportive and involved, but the unfulfilled dream of a larger family created lingering pain. The shift after Robyn. Meri initially played a key role in Robyn's entrance into the family. She was the one who first encouraged Kody to pursue Robyn, believing that Robyn would be a good addition to their Plural household. At the time, this decision reflected Meri's faith and her desire to see the family grow. However, the consequences of that encouragement soon became clear. Once Kody's affection for Robyn became obvious, Meri began to feel displaced. The legal divorce in 2014, which allowed Kody to marry Robyn in order to adopt her children, was a particularly devastating blow. While Meri agreed to it on paper, the emotional impact was profound. The catfishing scandal. Meri's struggles deepened with the infamous catfishing scandal. Believing she was forming a close emotional connection with someone online, she was instead deceived by a woman posing as a man. The fallout damaged her already fragile relationship with Kody. On the show, Kody admitted that their marriage was effectively over, even though they remained spiritually connected for years afterward. This scandal isolated Meri further from both Kody and the rest of the family. Fans debated whether she had been unfairly vilified or whether her actions represented a betrayal. Regardless, the scandal underscored the cracks in her marriage and her loneliness within the family. Janelle Brown, the practical partner. Joining the family. Janelle Brown became Kody's second wife in 1993. Unlike Meri, who entered the marriage with emotional intensity, Janelle approached plural marriage with pragmatism. She valued independence, financial stability, and personal growth. Interestingly, Janelle was once married to Meri's brother, making her transition into the Brown family all the more unusual. Despite potential awkwardness, Janelle quickly found her place by focusing on her strengths. The provider role. For much of the family's history, Janelle worked outside the home while Christine and Meri handled domestic responsibilities. She became known as the provider, contributing financially and ensuring the family had stability. Her approach to plural marriage was less about romance and more about partnership. Kody often praised Janelle for her practicality and independence. However, this also meant their marriage was less overtly affectionate. On camera, fans sometimes noticed a lack of passion between them, though there was respect and companionship. Janelle and the other wives. Janelle's relationships with the other wives were generally steady, though not without conflict. She and Christine often worked together on childcare, while her bond with Meri was historically strained. Over time, Janelle developed a reputation among fans as one of the most level-headed wives, willing to speak up when necessary but also capable of keeping peace. Distance from Kody. Despite her calm demeanor, Janelle eventually expressed dissatisfaction with her relationship with Kody. She acknowledged that they functioned more like friends than romantic partners. While this arrangement worked for many years, it became more problematic as tensions in the family increased. When Robyn entered the family, Janelle maintained a neutral stance, but she, too, noticed the growing favoritism. By the time the COVID-19 pandemic further strained family dynamics, Janelle's frustrations were clear. She valued her independence but also resented feeling sidelined. Christine Brown, the nurturer. Early enthusiasm. Christine Brown, who spiritually married Kody in 1994, was often described as the heart of the family. Warm, nurturing, and deeply committed to motherhood, Christine raised 6 of Kody's children and became the primary caregiver in the household. Her cheerful personality and strong belief in plural marriage made her seem, at first, perfectly suited to the lifestyle. She often spoke about her childhood dreams of being a third wife and believed she was fulfilling her destiny. Struggles with jealousy. Despite her enthusiasm, Christine admitted to struggling with jealousy. Watching Kody divide his time among multiple wives, and later devote significant attention to Robyn, often left her feeling unappreciated. Her openness about these emotions made her relatable to many viewers, who sympathized with her vulnerability. The turning point with Robyn. Christine's breaking point came with Kody's relationship with Robyn. She felt that Robyn was receiving the majority of Kody's time, energy, and affection. In several episodes, Christine tearfully admitted that she no longer felt like an equal partner. Her frustration grew over the years, and by 2021, she made the life-changing decision to leave the marriage. Christine's departure was a monumental event for the show, symbolizing the unraveling of the plural marriage and highlighting the challenges of maintaining equality in such a system. Life after Kody. Christine's decision to leave was not only personal but also cultural. She rejected the notion that her worth depended on staying in a marriage that made her unhappy. Fans overwhelmingly supported her, and her journey toward independence became a major storyline in later seasons. Robyn Brown, the fourth wife. A different dynamic. As discussed earlier, Robyn's entrance brought passion and new energy to Kody's life. Their relationship was marked by romantic gestures, open displays of affection, and deep emotional conversations. To many viewers, it was obvious that Kody was more invested in Robyn than in his other marriages. Perceived favoritism. This favoritism became one of the defining controversies of the show. Kody's willingness to legally marry Robyn, his focus on her children, and his constant praise of her created resentment among the other wives. Robyn, for her part, often expressed guilt about the situation, but her word